Welcome to Rock Club's record album review of Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast. My name is Kevin Z, and I'm a lifelong musician and music fan. I'd like to think I've gained some musical wisdom over my 50 years of listening to, performing, and studying music from among my many favorite artists. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my Rock Club channel, as I intend to review another monumental album each week. I grew up with classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin, Boston, and Kiss. I watched as new wave bands like Duran Duran hit big on MTV and television shows like Friday Night Videos. I witnessed the evolution of 80s alternative rock and hair metal and the rise of grunge. I'll give you my perspective on epic rock albums spanning across these years. I hope I can pass some of my knowledge along to my daughters, Sky and Ava, whose playlists include tunes from my album collection, my first generation iPod here. And another inspiration has been gals from work who heard my playlist songs at work, and many of them heard them for the first time and commented how today's music had changed so much and how Generation Z can benefit from my knowledge of these great artists and bands. I'm reviewing artists' albums in their format order as they were originally intended to be listened to. So keep in mind, these are my opinions. So feel free to comment, agree, or disagree. So let's begin. While strolling through the Ridgedale Mall one day back in the early 80s, I wandered into Spencer's Gifts. I think they went the way of the dinosaur, and there are not nearly as many shopping malls as there used to be. It was a store similar to today's Hot Topic, with novelty items, posters, and t-shirts. Black light posters were all the rage, and one poster caught my eye. It was the cover of Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast. I must admit, it had some shock value to it, and being a fan of all things monsters and macabre, I had to check this band out. Well, one listen to this album, and I was blown away. Originally released March 22nd, 1982, Iron Maiden's third album, The Number of the Beast, would burn into heavy metal brains and put the British Metal Masters on the worldwide map in a huge way, featuring incredible soaring vocals and screams from the new lead vocalist Bruce Dickinson, memorable songwriting and bass playing from Steve Harris, the dual-edged guitar attack of Dave Murray and Adrian Smith, and precise drumming of Clive Burr. The album, along with its iconic cover by artist Derek Riggs, would leave a lasting impression. Here with the band's ghoulish mascot, Eddie, controlling a puppet of the devil, whom the artist likened to Salvador Dali, by the way, who in turn is controlling the puppet of Eddie. And the album cover leaves us pondering the question, who really is pulling the strings? I'm reviewing the version of The Number of the Beast that was released in 1922. It's a double album, and it has a different song on it than the original release. This is a double album. It's got a live album, Beast over Hammersmith, as well. So it's a fantastic double album. So I'm reviewing this album, a little bit different than the original. So this track listing, I'll mention that as we go along. So track 1, side 1, Invaders. The album opens with a series of machine gun-like drum fills from Clive Burr. It's a sign to the listener that they're in for a sonic assault. The chorus has the entire band riffing scales at a frenetic pace. Track 2, side 1, Children of the Damned. It's a slower tempo rocker that opens with an acoustic guitar part that surely must have inspired Metallica later on their tune Fade to Black, as they sound similar. About midway through, Burr begins a tom-tom fill that builds, and then the band explodes into a high tempo during the searing guitar solo section. Also, there's a dramatic ending with Bruce Dickinson hitting a high note on his final announcement of the song's title. Track 3, side 1, The Prisoner. Track 3 opens with a pre-recorded section from the title sequence of a British TV show with the same name. The Prisoner. Huge drum intro leads into this heavy romp about a prisoner breaking free and running amok. The last song on side 1, 22 Acacia Avenue, has Bruce singing about visiting a house of ill repute located, of course, at 22 Acacia Avenue. Midway through the song, it switches to an upbeat 6/8 tempo, which would become a popular move for the band in this and other future songs. Burr is all triplets propelling the band. Then during a separate guitar solo section, the band switches back to a rock solid 4/4 tempo. Finally, they switch back to the 6/8 again for the final verse and the incredible jam fest that is the outro. Side 2 opens with The Number of the Beast, the title track and the second single off the album. Steve Harris has stated that the song was inspired by a nightmare he had after watching the movie Damon Omen 2. The band tried to get Vincent Price to read some spoken lines from the chapter Revelations in the Bible, but Price's asking price of 25,000 British pounds was too steep, so they settled on actor Barry Clayton. The spooky gimmick works, and I'm sure it scared the piss out of a number of parents when they overheard what their young metalheads were listening to. Also, there's this face-melting trade-off guitar solo between Adrian Smith and Dave Murray on this tune. What a fantastic song. Track 2, side 2, Run to the Hills, was the first single released off the album and would be a fan favorite for years to come. After the cool intro section, the song's rhythm changes to this galloping feel that has Harris and the band, this galloping feel that Harris and the band would use successfully in this and other future tunes, this kind of galloping rhythm section. Dickinson sings the story from both sides of the U.S. cavalry and their battles against Native American Indians. A very catchy chorus. Run to the hills, run for your lives. Track 3, side 2 of this 40th anniversary album is Total Eclipse, replacing the song Gangland, which the band thought was an inferior tune, but were pressed for time on the original pressing of their first single, and it got put on the first album, hence the mix-up. But Total Eclipse is certainly a more complex composition with many distinct sections. The elaborate intro is followed by a verse and then into a pre-chorus. Then it goes back to a verse 2 before hitting the chorus. Suddenly you're in a whirlwind section of this guitar shredding, then into a bridge before going back into the intro section one final time and ending with a huge gong hit. Are you following all of this? Final track on the album, Hallowed Be Thy Name. This is considered to be one of the band's most epic tunes. From the moment you first hear the stroke of the huge bell chime in the intro, you are pulled in. Bruce Dickinson is a masterful storyteller, and he himself has described his role as, quote, narrating a movie to the audience, unquote. The sands of time for me are running low, running low, something like that. The story is of a prisoner reflecting on his past life as he awaits the hangman's noose. The song provides myriad twists and turns, and of course, tempo changes that Iron Maiden are well known for. It's an absolute heavy metal rock opera. The Number of the Beast was listed in Rolling Stone magazine in 2017 as the 4th greatest metal album of all time, and it has sold over 20 million copies worldwide. Iron Maiden continues touring worldwide and performing to rabid heavy metal fans to this day. Up the irons. Thanks again for tuning in, and look for more Rokk Club record reviews in the near future. Peace.